Okay, camera's on.
Yes. You're with Jim.
Yes,
Good for you.
some days. No, almost every.
I've known him for a long time.
I haven't heard any bad words at all from anyone, so that's unbelievable. but
No one has the
Good guy.
That's the kid.
He is a good guy.
No one would have anything to say, bad to say about Jim.
Yeah.
My office is in my house.
Oh, okay.
There's only 2 lawyers that I will let in my house. Jean's one of them.
Okay, that's good enough.
He pets the dog while I was finishing the trash.
When they allow the electrician behind us.
Sitting in a meeting this morning, and Joanne hadn't come to work yet, so Molly had to sit on my lap. So she's sitting there, and a good girl, and then
Being
finally
starting
I said,
cable.
Okay, she had
And you're
to
right,
get
Public.
Are they installing cable? Are they installing? Because I've seen them come up with
Yeah,
I can't believe you could be a dog person.
They did, yeah. I think there's one interesting.
Yeah, like me,
now.
sorry.
They work so close to Wilson.
Yeah, all the time, Michelle. Yeah.
Just takes one, getting to your heart.
I was thinking about what did your son say?
I got another dog sitting.
Did he make comment after all these years?
I'm not getting paid for any of these.
I need a dog sitter actually in June. Mine's going out of town.
We were,
Might be hitting you up for that, and I will pay you.
we were researching it because
I
of
wish we had a
the King
fence.
Charles.
We had a fence.
And, the dog actually was bred to keep women warm in the carriages and in the castles. So that's what, that had a lap dog. And then they actually lost the breed for years, but that was back in 1640 or something like that.
Does that mean your wife tried to tell you that means she truly is a queen?
That's right, I knew that all along.
Smart man.
Yes.
Just be careful, they have heart problems in their bloodline.
They
If
do.
you're looking
and
at them, you have to make sure that there's nothing in the
we,
bloodline.
we looked hard at the bloodline and it was pretty good, so we've got our
That's good.
fingers crossed. Yeah, they get, mitral valve trouble, yeah. Okay, it is the witching hour, so we can call the meeting of the Wyomissing Zoning Hearing Board to order. We're here today to hear from Mr. Christopher Garrell, is that pronounced?
Garrell.
Garrell, on behalf of his client, Ben Chow, owner of property located at 1801 Penn Avenue, who's requesting a special exception approval under section 473B to allow a business, professional, or governmental office to operate the property, and special exception approval under section 473C to allow a residential dwelling unit on a story above a use permitted by special exception. Property is located in TC Town Center Residential Office. It is currently developed with a 2-story detached dwelling, with a commercial office on the first floor and a residential dwelling unit on the second floor. Property is grandfathered, non-conforming, and that zoning relief was never granted to allow the first floor commercial office use or second floor residential dwelling unit. Both uses permitted by special exception. The most recent occupant of the first floor commercial office space was American Geotech, a professional company specializing in civil and geotechnical engineering. The applicant proposes to lease the first floor to be used as a professional office by a single physical therapist, medical massage practitioner, or similar professional use. As this is a change of use from the prior grandfathered non-conforming use by American Geotech, special exception approval is required. The prior use of the second floor residential dwelling unit is documented in borough records by the issuance of a residential rental permit from 2010 through 2022. It is the zoning officer's interpretation that the second floor residential dwelling use would be permitted to continue without special exception approval being granted. However, granting the special exception will make the property conform with all zoning and regulations and is preferred. The proposed combined commercial and residential use of the property would require 9 off-street parking spaces, and the property provides 11 off-street spaces. No off-street parking relief is required. I almost turned off the phone without missing a sentence, but I didn't quite get it. I didn't quite get it done. So, okay, before we begin, I'll introduce the people at this end of the table. You probably know Michelle there, and then Robert Ullman is a member of the Zoning Hearing Board. Najla Datish is a member of the Zoning Hearing Board. Dan Becker is counsel, and I'm David Rothmal. I'm the chairman of the Zoning Hearing Board. And Mr. Becker will tell you how we're going to proceed today.
Thank you. Because it's your application today, and you're assisted with Mr. Garnell, it's your obligation to present the evidence to us to explain why the relief you're requesting should be granted. You can do that through testimony, you can do that through presentation of exhibits as well. As you provide testimony, after you complete your testimony, the board members and I, as well as other residents who are here today, will have the opportunity to ask you questions about your testimony. After all of the testimony has been presented, we will see if there's anybody from the audience, any of the residents that would like to either present testimony or just make a statement. We'll have the same opportunity if they are requesting party status, we'll have the same opportunity to ask them questions too. If they're simply making a statement, we'll allow them to do that. After all the evidence has been presented, what will happen is the board will typically go into an executive session and they will deliberate. And they'll make a determination of whether you've met your burden and whether the relief should be granted or not. Do you understand how we're going to proceed today?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have any questions before we proceed? All right.
Mr. Garrell, are your witnesses that you would like sworn?
Yes, that includes Mr. Chow and his realtor, Mr. Huang,
Okay.
both present, next to me and behind me.
And Michelle, we'll have you all sworn.
Mr. Chow, your full name?
VANCAO.
Mr. Wang?
MING.
M-I-A-G.
MIN as in Nancy. G.
Okay. How's that pronounced?
Ming.
Me? Okay. And your last name?
Huang. HUANG.
You'll all raise your hands, please. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
You also? Yeah. Ah. All set.
Okay, Mr. Garrell, it's up to you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just as an introduction, Mr. Chow seeks, with regard to 1801 Penn Avenue, Mr. Chow seeks a special exception approval in accordance with 473B of the Chapter 7 of the Township, or the Borough Code, for a business or professional office use on the first floor, and also a special exception approval pursuant to Chapter 27, Section 473C, to allow for use of the second floor unit as a residential apartment. Each use is wholly consistent with the prior use of the property, as confirmed by the borough manager. We confirmed the second story was rented from 2010 to 2022, and American Geotech, a professional company, operated their business out of the first floor. Per the memo of the borough manager dated April 19th, 2023, the interpretation of the borough is that special exception approval is not required for the second floor residential apartment. However, we are seeking it to clarify zoning and essentially bring the property to full compliance with the zoning ordinance. So having said that, I'd like to call Van Chow as my first witness. As he's already been sworn in, I'll ask Mr. Chow, are you the owner of 1801 Penn Avenue?
Yes,
And you purchased that property in July of 2022?
yes,
Was it vacant when you purchased
Sorry,
it?
you purchased that property when?
July 2022.
Mr. Carroll, try and.
Sure. Was the property vacant when you purchased it?
Yes,
To the best of your knowledge, was American Geotech an engineering firm operating out of the first floor most recently prior to your purchase?
Yes.
And was there also a residential tenant sometime before your purchase occupying the second story? And with regard to the first floor, is it your intention, if the special exception is approved, to implement a business or professional office use on the first floor?
Yes.
Is the first floor of 1801 Penn Avenue already set up for a business or professional office use? Would there be any modifications necessary to the interior or exterior of the property to implement that business or professional office use?
No.
And you're also seeking a special exception approval to implement a residential apartment use on the second floor? Is 1801 Penn Avenue, the second floor, already set up as a residential apartment?
Yes.
Would there be any modifications necessary to the interior or exterior of the property in order to implement that second floor apartment use?
No.
Did you review the attachments to the zoning application prior to filing? And that would include 2 plans, hand-drawn plans? My question is, did you review these prior to filing?
Yes.
And are they true and correct based on your knowledge of your property?
True and correct.
Are you aware of any similar uses of property in close proximity to 1801 Penn Avenue?
Yes.
And does that include Wolf Chiropractic Center at 1813 Penn Avenue?
Yes.
And Trish's Salon
I'm sorry,
at
what's the address of that?
1813 Penn Avenue?
And Terrell, you slow down a little bit.
Okay.
I'm having trouble keeping up, so I'm sure she's photographer here just to.
Does that also include Trish's Salon at 1701 Penn Avenue?
Yes.
Does that also include Penn Ankle and Foot Care at 1719 Penn Avenue?
Yes.
As well as Dave Roche, R-O-C-H-E Electric Inc. at 1809 Penn Avenue?
Yes.
Are all of these similar business or professional office uses to the use that you seek to implement on the first floor at 1801 Penn Avenue? Would your proposed use of 1801 Penn Avenue adversely affect the character of the neighborhood, property values, health and safety of residents, or reasonable use of neighboring properties?
No effect.
Other than what you've already testified to, do you have anything to add about your intentions for 1801 Penn Avenue?
I'm sorry?
Other than what you've already testified to, do you have anything else to add about your intentions for the property?
No.
Those are all the questions I have for this witness.
When you were describing the adjacent properties and their businesses, are they also properties with residential, apartment upstairs? Any of them?
To my knowledge, no, they're just business offices in the general vicinity, not necessarily adjacent.
Okay.
Trisha Salon, Dave Roach Electric, both have rental units above them. The chiropractor's office does not.
Oh, there's somebody there now.
Okay. And all of those properties, this is a question actually for Michelle, all of those properties are conforming in
No,
the,
they're all grandfathered non-conforming.
all grandfathered non-conforming,
That-
like this property?
Yes, and keep in mind that was former Wyomissing Hills.
I'm sorry, keep,
That was the former Wyomissing Hills Borough that was incorporated into Wyomissing in 2003.
All of these properties are
Yes.
in the former,
Yes.
That's where I'm from.
It's not
It's my fault.
Michelle, is this property in Wyomissing Hills as well?
Yes,
The former.
Or former Wyomissing Hills?
the Wyomissing Hills section of Wyomissing Borough.
Yeah, it's in that, yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Anything else? You all right, Dan? Oh,
There was something I was thinking of. So, what's the use that you're gonna be putting in the first one?
Professional office.
Is there a specific, I think your attorney mentioned there was chiropractor or something that you were
Yeah,
looking
because they were, since we put it on the market, there's somebody, the potential tenant, talked to us about what he's gonna do. And he's a, sport injury recovery massage, and that's the information I got from my realtor. And I think any kind of professional office, right there, keep the neighborhood nice, I'm okay with it.
So at this point, you know, it's not definitive or not decided that it would be a chiropractor office,
I haven't signed anything yet,
Okay.
because we didn't sign lease or anything.
but it's some kind of professional office you're looking
Yes.
for. Okay, thank you. That's all. Okay.
Counselor?
I'd like to call my second witness.
Oh, did anybody have any questions?
Well, I guess I do.
You have to identify yourself.
Elizabeth Fields, 8 Upland Road, Wyomissing
I'm
Hills.
sorry, Elizabeth Fields?
8 Upland Road, Wyomissing Hills.
Spell your last name for me?
Fields. I have a question about the grandfathered in. The property behind us, Roche Electric, was there after the Wyomissing vote, where Wyomissing Hills became Wyomissing? So I do not understand how that is grandfathered in. Maybe you
So
could explain that.
that's a question that's not related to this particular application, that's on another property.
Yeah,
So that's a question you should talk to Ms. Bear about outside of this.
okay,
Do you have any
I can do
questions?
that.
Do you have any, that's okay. Do you have any questions for this applicant?
No,
Okay,
no, I will have a statement,
okay. You have a statement later?
yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Mr. Burrell?
I'd like to call my second witness, Ming Huang. You can actually switch seats, so he sits there and he'll help the court reporter.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
A little slower.
I've worked with him before.
Oh, all right, okay.
Can you state your name for the record?
My name is Ming Huang.
And did you assist the applicant, Mr. Chow, with regard to his purchase of 1801 Penn Avenue,
Yes,
as well as with regard to preparation for the zoning hearing?
yes,
Are you Mr. Chow's realtor?
yes,
Did you take any photographs of the parking lot of 1801 Penn Avenue in preparation for this hearing?
yes,
You have a mark, Mr. Burke.
Yes. I'm handing what's been marked applicant 1, which is a collection of photographs and other documents.
Yeah, that's it.
There were 3, well, the packet I've just distributed is pre-marked applicant 1. It's a series of 4 photographs and 2 plans. In regard to the first 3 pages, did you take these photographs?
yes.
And when were these taken?
February and April,
So of 2023?
yes.
And what do the first 3 photos depict?
Because we want to show the nighttime Hollywood light, so we put at April, March 2023.
Are these photographs of the parking lot in the rear of 1801 Penn Avenue?
Yes,
And these depict some lighting, correct?
yes,
Do the lights, as depicted on the first 3 pages of applicant 1, shine any light into the public street or any adjacent property?
no, because we aim to the parking lot, the light is towards the parking lot.
So there's no noxious glare or high-intensity lighting which shines beyond the boundaries of 1801 Penn Avenue?
No,
If you turn to the second page of applicant 1, It appears there's some vegetative screening in the rear of the parking lot. Can you describe that?
Yeah, our lighting is 12 foot, and actually the behind the lighting is at least 14 foot bush tree. And this part, you see in front of the picture, there's a street light. So not our lighting, but there's really light our grace as well. This is street light. And all the lighting towards the parking lot. And you will see this light. On the picture 3, you will see this light. Behind this light, if you see the daylight, you will see there's a bush as well.
Let me just, you're speaking about the fourth page of applicant 1 now?
Yeah,
When was that, did you take that photo?
yes,
When was that taken?
February,
February of 2023?
yeah,
And does this include vegetative screening shielding the parking lot from
Yeah.
an adjacent residential property?
yes,
And that's the western boundary of the property?
yes,
And the vegetative screening behind the parking lot screens the northern boundary of the property?
yes,
And with regard to the fifth page of applicant 1, did you prepare this plan?
yes.
And what does it show?
The dimension shows 91 times 53 for the parking lot, but on the roadside shrink to the 43.
So the fifth page of applicant 1 shows 11 parking spaces and a general outline and overview of the parking lot and a portion of the structure on the property.
Yes,
And did you also prepare the sixth page of exhibit applicant 1?
yes.
What does this show?
It shows the relevant location and the parking lot to the whole lot and the existing house.
And you actually took the measurements depicted on the fifth and sixth pages of applicant 1?
Yes,
And are these plans included as applicant 1 true and correct to the best of your knowledge, information, and belief?
yes,
So there's a total of 11 parking spaces in the lot off-street?
yes,
And are these parking spaces the dimensions of 9 feet by 18 feet?
yes.
Those are all the questions I have for this witness.
What's that structure that looks like a carport?
The parking space 10 and 11. Or
So 10 and 11.
10, 11 just, you can see on the 5 page,
On the fifth one,
yeah,
okay, so you have a
the
cover.
sheet, yeah.
Najla, when Burke's Geotech operated there, they used to store equipment underneath that.
Mm. Is that going to stay? Is the carport going to stay, or are you gonna remove
Yeah,
it?
going to stay, yeah.
All right.
I have any questions. No questions.
No questions?
No, sir.
Okay. Ms. Fields, you wanted to make a statement?
Yes, I honestly have no objection to, this usage of that property. It seems fine for a small office. I would object to any other commercial business going in there where they're going to have equipment again parked back there. And I would rather not have that big carport in there. But I would not want a business in there that's lowering our property values because we already have one in that area. So we need to not have anything that's going to have big equipment, old air conditioners strewn about, or anything like that.
But
But for his usage of an office for a doctor, or massage therapist, I don't have any objection to that.
Good, thank you,
Yes.
thank you.
See if Mr. Brown.
Anything more, Mr. Gorell?
No, I would just like to give a brief closing. That's my last witness.
Go ahead.
As the testimony confirms, 1801 Penn Avenue, if the special exceptions are approved, will not be modified for these uses, and it meets all dimensional and performance standards of Chapter 27. There's testimony regarding mature landscaping in accordance with Section 604, lighting in accordance with Section 605, and off-street parking in accordance with 609. The proposed special exception uses are wholly consistent with the stated purpose of the TC district in accordance with Chapter 27, Section 471 of the Borough Code. As applicant has demonstrated compliance with applicable zoning provisions as well as objective criteria pursuant to Chapter 27, Section 902E of the Borough Code, we respectfully request the grant of both special exceptions pursuant to Section 473B and 473C to allow for business, professional, or office use and the residential apartment use on the second floor. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Becker?
Yes, at this point in time, we'd like to have Michelle Baer provide some testimony. Michelle, in capacity as the secretary for the zoning hearing board, what are your duties and responsibilities?
I prepared a public notice that was advertised in the Reading Eagle on April 25th and May 2nd of 2023. That same notice was posted on the subject property on April 19th of 2023 at approximately 9:20 a.m. And it was also mailed to all adjacent property owners located within at least 300 feet of the subject property on April 17th of 2023 at approximately 10 a.m.
Do you have copies of those documents with you today?
I do.
Okay, we'll mark those as board exhibit number 1. As the secretary for the zoning hearing board, do you have any further information that you'd like to present to the zoning hearing board today?
I do not.
Then let's change hats to the zoning officer, I guess it's the commercial zoning officer of the borough. What are your duties and responsibilities?
I prepared a memo to the zoning hearing board dated April 19th of 2023, summarizing the application and the relief requested.
And was that the memo that was read into the record by the chairman earlier today?
Yes.
We'll mark that as board exhibit number 2. As the zoning officer, do you have any further information you'd like to present to the board?
No, only did anyone enter the application
Why don't we
itself?
do that right now? So mark that as I think we're at applicant 2.
Yes.
So mark that as applicant 2 for the application. Michelle, what zoning ordinance was in place at the time of this application?
The one that was printed January of 2022.
We'll mark that as board exhibit number 3, but we're not going to move for submission at this time. That's all I have, I believe. Michelle, do you have any further for the zoning hearing board?
I do not.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we're going to recess the meeting for a few minutes to see if we can come to a conclusion and finish it today. So if you all will excuse us.
Thank you.
You want to stop at the front desk and get my card? We have back-to-back hearings all afternoon.
Okay.
Just give me a call, not today,
Okay.
but just in general.
Okay, I will, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
On this zoning hearing board order, is there a motion?
Yes, I move that we approve the application of Garnell for a special exception for the property located at 1801 Penn Avenue under section 473.B to allow a business, professional, governmental office to operate the property, and under section 473.C to allow a residential dwelling unit on a story above and is permitted by special exception, subject to the conditions to be so directed by our solicitor. It will be as follows. First, outdoor storage. There will be no outdoor storage of materials or equipment. Second, for parking. The parking lot will be used for customers and tenants only. It's for 2-axle vehicles. You should not have any trailers stored out there, or commercial or construction vehicles. Next, you'll be bound by
There should not be any.
no construction vehicles or commercial vehicles. Next, Next, the applicant will be bound by all testimony and evidence that was presented at the hearing today. Next, the applicant will comply with all borough ordinances, codes, rules, and regulations. Applicant will also be bound by all state and federal rules and regulations as well as it relates to the operation of the property. The applicant will pay for and obtain all necessary permits for any construction or renovations that are required of the property. The applicant will not alter the property in any way inconsistent with the decision that's being rendered. And finally, that the relief that's being granted must commence within 1 year of the date of the written decision.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Relief is granted.
Thank you,
Meeting is adjourned.
appreciate your time.
Thank you.